Hey guys, what's good? It's July 5th, 2025. This is Shane's World News Views podcast. First off, we're going to go with the big news of the week. The one big beautiful bill. It has been passed. It was first passed in the Senate 51 to 50. J.D. Vance was the tie-breaking vote. Then it was sent to Congress, and it was passed 218 to 214. Then President Trump just signed off on it yesterday, July the 4th, and it is official. And you got a lot of people crying about it, saying that, of course, they're just not informed, saying that it appeals to rich people, and this isn't for people that are less wealthy, and this and that, and it's got many tax benefits. No tax on tip, of course. It's going to lower gas prices. It's going to improve the economy. The people that really believe that, it doesn't apply to everybody, it does apply to everybody. You will figure that out. You will find that out if you don't already know. So congratulations to President Trump. That was, a big deal for him. He's really gone through in these first couple months and taken care of a lot of things. I just can't wait till it gets started soon, where they're investigating the 2020 stolen election, and he focuses on that, and that might be really soon. So anyway, congratulations. The one big beautiful bill is in effect. So it's a great thing for America, and congratulations, President Trump. Also this week, Alligator Alcatraz. Finally, it was built within a month here in Florida. It's at the Big Cypress Reservation. It's in Ochapee, Florida, and this is going to be a facility where they're going to keep illegals, and right here in beautiful Florida. And it's an air-conditioned facility. People, media that have been on the tour, they say, that, wow, this is actually a nice place, if you're coming here as an illegal. I mean, if you're an illegal, you could just deport yourself, and you could avoid everything. But if you're gonna stay somewhere, if you're gonna have to be, held somewhere, I think Alligator Alcatraz is probably the place you want to go, if that's the way you want to go. And if you try to escape, it's not going to be fun, because like the name says, there are alligators, and they will destroy you if you try to escape. So that wouldn't be a good idea. Good deal for Alligator Alcatraz to finally be open, and because they were going to consider opening the original Alcatraz, and then there was a lot of people trying to come in the way of that. So President Trump said, forget it. In the state of Florida, Ron Desantis said, forget it, we'll open our own here in Florida. So that's a good thing. Hershey's is going to drop all artificial flavors and dyes from their foods. So I think the end mark for their goal is 2027 to have, all the dyes and artificial flavors out by 2027, but starting now. So Hershey's products are going to get better. Anything without artificial flavors and dyes is a good thing. So good for Hershey's. Next, we have, Brian. I always say this guy's name wrong. Brian Kohlberger. So this guy's a scumbag, obviously. He worked out a plea deal. The Idaho 4 students that were killed in 2022 at a home in Moscow, Idaho. So it's an unfortunate situation. This guy has no motive. There is no motive in killing people. At least, like, this guy has no motive. He's a crazy fuck. He just, I don't know. He probably went into a rage. He saw four. Well, he was going in for, I think, two people, and then there was two other people there. So anyway, he admitted to the killings. They're working out a plea deal so he doesn't get, death in prison. He's basically going to have life in prison. Brian Kohlberger, you're a scumbag, period. So anyway, on to the next. University of Penn, that's a big thing this week. They banned trans from women's sports. So any school that does that is doing the right thing. Again, having men compete in women's sports is a joke. So, yeah, I'm a man, but yeah, I want to be a woman now, but I still have all my male parts. I have all my testosterone, and I want to go compete with women that are women, that were born women, that have lower testosterone, and obviously you have the advantage. You should not be in that. You should not be able to compete in a sport with a fucking woman. It's plain and simple. So good for University of Penn. The FBI this week arrested two China nationals, and they were charged of acting as foreign agents. So, you always got to watch out for that. We got, obviously, people coming into this country doing all kinds of messed up things. This is why we're trying. This is why we're, getting rid of illegals. This is why we're closing borders. You can't have these people coming into the country. These people obviously came in, not through the border, but they came in and they are trying to do corrupt shit, and they were caught, and that's a good thing. So then we have the border czar, Tom Homan, that announced this week that AOC is being investigated for employing an illegal immigrant and helping others evade immigration and customs enforcement. So we'll see what comes about of that. AOC is corrupt. I mean, I can guarantee you there's a lot of corrupt things that AOC has done that have not maybe been proven yet, but are eventually on the way of being proven. So hopefully this is one of them. I would really like to see her get nabbed, because I just look at her and I see a very lying, corrupted individual. So we'll see what comes out of that. Paramount is going to pay President Trump $16 million for the 60 Minutes lawsuit, because like President Trump and his team had said, they were caught editing parts of an interview with Kamala Harris where they were taking out all kinds of bits of the interview where she was just coming up saying dumb shit or looking confused, just to try to make her look better, and in the election. And so Paramount says, you know what, here's $16 million, President Trump. That's 1/6. So good for President Trump. Fuck 60 Minutes. It's a corrupted show. They lie. So fuck them. On to the next. Sean P. Diddy Combs. We'll see how much time he's going to get, but he was convicted of 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution, but he was acquitted of racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking. So he was acquitted of the multiple things that would have got him the most severe penalty in prison, which could have been life in prison. Now, for being convicted of 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution, he could still get between 10 and 20 years. But a lot of people think it's going to be months. Like, he's not going to get years. He's going to get maybe months. And he might not get any time. That's what a lot of people think. I personally think he's going to probably get some kind of time. And I'm thinking it could be maybe a few years. But we'll see what happens. But he did hope that he was going to get a release where he could just go home. The judge ordered that he had to stay in prison for the time being. So I look, when it comes down to anything to do, with the courts, juries, you have to have definitive evidence that somebody did something that they're being accused of. It's very hard to just, sentence somebody for a very hard penalty if you don't have definitive evidence. So, I'm not, and it's not to say that, Combs or any other criminal that, is found not guilty of certain things didn't do those things. Sometimes you don't know 100%, but you're going by the evidence that's presented. So, again, if you don't have 100%, evidence, recordings, videos, it's tough, man. So, anyway, Sean Combs, man, I met this guy several times. Of course, to a fan, he comes across one way. Sometimes, these people, you don't know how they are behind closed doors. Sometimes you're assuming by the way that they, you're seeing them on television, these celebrities, they come across super nice, or they come across cold or arrogant, and you really think like that's always that person. And you know what? A lot of times it probably is, but there's a lot of times that people are fake, and they're very good actors, and they just come across a better way on television or when they meet you, and then they may be really fucking crazy behind the scenes, like, behind closed doors. So anyway, that's the deal with Sean P. Diddy Combs. The pardoned J6er by President Trump, let's see, Jared Wise, he's going to join the Justice Department. He's a former FBI agent. He's going to serve as a counselor to Ed Martin. January the 6th, January 6th, the orchestrated event, by Pelosi, Schumer, the deep state, let's take a rally and let's make President Trump look like a very bad person. So even though this 2020 election was stolen, we want to make it to where he can't come back and win the next election. So let's make him look horrible. He got up on the stage, these people all, invaded the Capitol, and there's so much bullshit to this. And the orchestration is just right there for you to see, even on video. Pelosi's daughter recorded her behind the scenes, and, there's this video that came out, and it just, she's basically saying that, Trump assigned National Guards, but they turned it down in D.C., the mayor, and, it's a joke, man. There's videos of Capitol Police just letting these supposed protesters right in through the back door in a single file line into the Capitol. Meanwhile, you have all the chaos in the front of the Capitol. And, unfortunately, Ashley Babbitt got killed by a police officer. She didn't even have a weapon on her. So, I don't know. That will be another thing that eventually is shown, that this was an orchestrated event. So good for Jared Wise in getting a position in the Justice Department. Judge Randolph Moss, he doesn't get I guess he doesn't get this, what the Supreme Court's ruling is in terms of judges not being able to interfere in President Trump's business. This guy comes out and says that the borders are allowed to be reopened. He's trying to block President Trump and saying the borders are closed. This won't be good. This won't be a good thing for the judge. You don't butt in, especially now the Supreme Court has ruled in President Trump's favor. So this will go absolutely nowhere. And this is an Obama appointee anyway. So this is just another idiot judge that's trying to come out, and even after the Supreme Court rules in President Trump's favor of judges not being able to do this, he still tries to do this. He's a fucking idiot. Okay, so Mellow Bucks. I've actually never heard of this rapper, and I'm a big rap fan, but he had his album release party in Chicago. Unfortunately, a drive-by shooting that killed 4 and injured 14 in Chicago. And I know I had read he was really bent out of shape about it. And, it's just such stupid shit where you have, these random shootings and, innocent people are dying, and, to me, there's no motive in killing somebody. Sometimes, I understand, there could be a crazy thing, sometimes, Somebody loses a parent due to a crazy person, kills their parent. They know, I'm just giving an example. They know who did it. Like before the police catch them, they go, they find them, they kill them. I mean, okay, then that's a motive that's actually worthy. But a lot of times, like, okay, this guy, you know, stole my girlfriend, and I mean, who cares, man? Like, I mean, I get it, but like, you can't kill people, man. This is like against the law, so you can't do that. And things like this, though, these random shootings, man, just drive-bys, and it just happens too much in Chicago. It happens all the time. So that's an unfortunate incident. President Trump also wants Jerome Powell to resign the Fed Reserve Chair. He's been caught lying to lawmakers. He's been caught lying to the panel about renovations to the Fed's Washington, D.C. Headquarters when he was brought in to be questioned. And, look, anytime that you have especially proof of someone lying on video, on camera, not presenting the facts, but presenting bullshit, then they should be terminated from their position. So I agree with President Trump. And, President Trump, everybody will figure this out at the end. But this man always tells the truth. He always tells the truth. So, and for this week, I believe that's it for world news. We'll go to sports. Football training camp starts in a few weeks, so nothing there. My Raiders will be back at it soon. Basketball, we had free agency begin this week. The Chicago Bulls, they re-signed Trey Jones, who I really liked when he came over last year in the trade, three-way trade. He came from the San Antonio Spurs, and I liked how he played, man. Unfortunately, he missed that play-in game against the Heat that the Bulls lost. But he's good, man. I mean, he's very fast, can penetrate to the basket, can shoot the three, like a pesky defender. I like that re-sign. They're still waiting on Josh Giddey, who is a restricted free agent. Obviously, we need to re-sign Josh Giddey. It's a money thing, where he wants a little over $30 million a year. I think the Bulls are trying to lowball him a little bit. They're waiting it out. There's really no teams that can just straight out sign him. I mean, so he's going to eventually sign with the Bulls, but it may take a little while, and then they'll come to an agreement. But obviously, the Bulls don't want to give him that exact fee that he wants of money, and they'll settle somewhere, and he'll be back. I mean, you had I think I mentioned this but maybe I didn't. But Kevin Durant, I think I did, but he went to the Rockets a couple weeks ago in a trade. There's different players that have moved around. I'm trying to think of anything else that was like a major trade or signing. I mean, Miles Turner, one of the bigger names in free agency this year. That just shows you it wasn't, well, one of the bigger really wasn't a lot, because a lot of these guys just re-signed with their teams. James Harden stayed with the Clippers, and I mean, Chris Paul's still out there, but I mean, he's at the end of his career, but a lot of people have linked him to go to the Bucks. Miles Turner ends up going to the Bucks. Basically, the Bucks, they waived Damian Lillard, who's going to probably miss all year to a torn knee. They basically are done with Damian Lillard, and that was their only way of going out and trying to sign somebody else to create money. So they signed Miles Turner away from the Pacers. So whatever. Fuck the Pacers. Fuck the Bucks. Chicago Bulls got to make the playoffs. We got to, this is a young team with a lot of talent, but got to start moving along. And the plan isn't going to do it. Have to play better defense. So anyway, so we'll go to NHL. Of course, I highlighted the last episode. The Panthers, they won their second straight Stanley Cup. Chicago Blackhawks not doing much in free agency. They traded for Sam Lafferty, who's already been on the team before. Just another veteran that they could put in. It is going to take away a spot possibly from one of our younger players, but it's mostly going to be a young team this year. And Ken Davidson, the GM, he believes in the players that he's drafted, and that they got to play. I mean, you got to play these kids if you believe in them, and getting better as a team and an organization. So that's really it for the Blackhawks so far, and that might be it for them at all this off season. And then they did trade for Bobrovsky a couple of weeks ago, and we'll see what happens. Also, most of the free agents in the NHL, Mitch Marner, he signed and got traded to Vegas. That was the biggest move. I did want to see Chicago make a play for him last season. I was talking like, oh yeah, we got the money, but in the long run, you look at it, he's going to make $12 million. I mean, it's, if you believe again in your young players, eventually you're going to have to pay them. And if you sign somebody like Marner, you're going to probably lose out on a couple of those guys. So I understand why they didn't. The other remaining free agents, John Tavares re-signed with Toronto, Brock Boeser re-signed with Vancouver. So mostly everybody stayed put in the NHL also. The Yankees, we'll go to baseball. They're horrible right now. They're losing games in every way possible. A lot of these games that they've lost recently is just because they weren't scoring enough offensively in these games. Like our pitching was holding down the opposition enough as far as not giving up a lot of runs, but the Yankees were just not scoring a lot. Now, this last week, the Yankees offense has come alive a little bit, but the pitching is bad. The last 5 games, they're getting bashed around. Lost yesterday. They had a late lead, 5-3 over the Mets. The Mets came back and won 6-5. It's going down in a tailspin, and I've seen this before, it's not to say the Yankees aren't going to bounce back, but they're just playing pathetic baseball right now. I mean, this team had a 7-game lead in the American League East, like, within the last 2 months, and now they're actually back 2 games behind Toronto, who's in first place. So they lost 5 in a row. The season high they've lost, I believe, is 6 in a row. So they're almost there again. And good teams. It's both ways. You're usually in baseball, you're getting good enough pitching, and you're getting timely hitting, and you're scoring enough runs. Overall, in most games you're playing, you might get shut out here and there, or get held down here and there, but mostly you're getting 4 or 5 runs on the board most games, at least at the minimum, and then you're bashing teams around other games. And this team right now, overall, they just suck. They plain and simple suck. And like I said, I've seen this before. And these guys, man, you just look at them and they laugh. They're they're laid back. It looks like it's not bothering a lot of them, at least during the game. But that's these guys. There's nobody. The majority of this team has never won a championship. These guys should be hungry as shit, playing clean, playing hard every single day, and they're not. They got their heads up their ass. They're making errors again, too much. They're base running. They're making gaffes too much, leaving too many runners on base. Runners in scoring position are offense. So it's just like the same trends. Anyway, we'll see what happens. But I'm done talking about them, and I'm done with Shane's World Podcast for the week. And I'll be back next week with more. All right, see ya.